All right. Prepare yourselves for a very obnoxious man with a very obnoxious voice. This is going to be very unpleasant. I still can't believe it. You can kind of see it from here. I still can't believe PJW videos are only in 720p. They don't upload them in 1080. This channel has millions of subs, doesn't it? 1.85 million subs, and he uploads in 720p. Paul, you're not Shu. You can't, you don't have a brand built around being low res. Yeah, but Shu, for you, it's your brand. With PJW, it's just laziness. I'd like to remind you all that you could make a video, like a clip montage just like this, of Florida, or basically any other state or any other city, right? Like left-wing or right-wing controlled. It's literally like every city, every state. Like this is Florida everywhere, okay? I'm from Florida. This is Florida all the time, okay? Also, this is a prime example of getting all of your political views about a place or about a thing based on YouTube videos. This is, what was it, JonTron that did this? I think it was JonTron that said, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it. Yeah, this is the equivalent of that. Oh shit, a black person. Uh-oh. Look, there was a black person. That's why LA is bad. A black person. Oh no.
Recently.
Isn't that Skid Row? That was Skid Row. Why? This is Skid Row. This is like one street or like block in LA that's like that has like a really bad homelessness problem. Wait, PJW, you realize the system that you advocate for would make every place like this, right? You understand that, right? Like this is what capitalism does. Well, Shu, let me explain what they want to do about the homelessness problem. They want to add spikes and bars to keep homeless people from being able to sleep on benches and other places that may have shade or cover or heat where they may sleep. They want to round them up and move them elsewhere. Usually they just like fucking bust them out of town and then leave them wherever the fuck. That's what they want to do with the homeless problem, or kill them, or just arrest them and keep them in prison. Although, yeah, for the for-profit prison system, they would make money off of the homeless people being there. That's what they want to do with homeless people. They don't want to, implement any social safety nets or any programs that can help them get jobs and get back on their feet. Many homeless people are disabled or veterans that have PTSD and are unable to work, or older people who don't have any money, or drug addicts who can't work because they have drug problems, which, I'm sure just like leaving them out on the street definitely helps them with. Why do I filled up my dono goal. I don't know why I still have this here. There we go. Now you guys can see better.
Recently, President Trump launched a new offensive against progressives by drawing attention to the decrepit state of major leftist-run cities. Wonder where he got that?
Leftist-run cities. Okay, dude. You know what this is? You know how Bernie or Busters say that Biden is a fascist? This is the same thing as when Republicans say that, like, liberals are leftists.
Idea from, but forget about Baltimore. If Baltimore was a toilet, LA would be a 500-acre landfill. LA can truly lay claim to the accolade of being king of the shitholes.
Hey, you want to go check? Let's check out LA. Let's just, like, look at LA on, Los Angeles. Let's see if this is as accurate as he makes it out to be. Because when you Google LA, most of the images that you see aren't of, like, decrepit, like, Skid Row style ghettos. You know, that's generally not what LA is made up of. LA is an unbelievably rich city, within the richest, most best economy state in the entire fucking country. California alone has a better economy than many countries out there. Like, LA is not a shithole. I'm sorry. Does it have a very high population? Is it a very densely packed city? Yes, and by that nature, there are going to be bad neighborhoods and a lot of homeless people, but that isn't anything having to do with it being a progressive-run city, or being LA, I guess. It has to do with being a high population area packed into a small geographic location.
There are now an estimated 60,000 homeless people living on the streets of LA. That's a 75% rise in homelessness.
I should remind you, PJW doesn't care about homeless people. He sees homeless people being bad as in they exist. He doesn't want homeless people being there. If the homeless people are elsewhere, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about making homeless people not homeless. He wants them dead or out of his sight. That's what he wants. He doesn't want. He's not advocating for like homeless people to be like to have it better, to have like social safety nets and ways of getting them back on their feet. He just wants them gone. I'm an intern for the LA police, and the centrist Democratic administration are pretty bad at handling this. Of course they are. They're Democrats.
Homelessness since 2012.
Did you ever see I Am Legend?
Yes.
Okay. Remember when all the fucking crazy zombie people are running at once?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Are
you serious?
I'm telling you, you can't believe the volume.
To illustrate the homeless...
Yes, Joe Rogan, very good academic source to go to when we talk about the quality of the city of LA.
Problem. Look at this comparison between 2015 and 2017. Look at the increase in trash and tents in a period of little over 2 years. And what's the mayor's solution? To paint murals of homeless people, because painting a mural of people who can't afford to live in California is really going to help homeless people living...
What is your solution, PJW? Please, suggest a solution.
In California, look at me, I'm helping! Former Sex Pistol Johnny Rotten recently complained about homeless people littering Venice Beach with feces and needles. They're aggressive, and because there's an awful lot of them together, they're gangy, he said. When this guy...
How would you like a nice smack in the head?
...is worried about other people being too aggressive, chances are they're quite aggressive.
What's the solution, PJW? What is your solution?
Thanks to ever lighter prison sentences, crime in Los Angeles County is also on the rise. According to Bob Lindsay, a 40-year veteran of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, murders in one area he patrols were up 900% last year. FBI stats also showed a 56% increase in murders in Los Angeles County. Crime amongst the homeless population rose by 50% over the last year.
A nasty attack inside a Westside McDonald's. Business owners Rick and Susie.
What's the solution, PJW? Are you going to provide any solutions? This is the problem I have with people like this, right? They'll do things like, they'll never provide any solutions or answers to certain problems. They'll just try to hammer home that a problem exists, implicate the idea that it's because of left-leaning people and that they are all the problem causing it, and then they won't put forward any other solutions. They put forward no solutions. By the way, allegedly, people like PJW, all these guys allegedly will tell you, you all are degenerates to your face on YouTube, allegedly, then behind the scenes do hard drugs and have orgies, allegedly. True. I feel like PJW is like a cocaine guy. You guys get that? You guys get that kind of vibe? I feel like PJW is a cocaine guy. You know? Like a wealthy white person drug. Allegedly. He's allegedly a cocaine guy. Do you remember that time when PJWs tweeted that he like fucked Lauren Southern on Twitter? He was like having like a copium meltdown, like a copium overdose on Twitter, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I fucked Lauren Southern." Okay, dude, okay, I'm sure you did, buddy. Thumbs up, you did it, dude. Yeah, we believe you. Nice to know.
Down here say they see this all the time. They weren't at all surprised to hear about this violent attack on the security guard. They say every single day is a struggle, and they watch the homeless people every day commit crimes and violence.
It's a standoff, and it's about to get very scary. A shirtless maniac armed with rocks is taunting motorists. Windows, but they are shatterproof. The rocks just bounce off. The terrified driver leaps out and flees. That's when it gets really scary. The shirtless dude jumps on board. Looks like he's trying to hijack the bus. Some of the passengers run out the back.
Residents of modern cities often...
Why is he... Can you? I feel like if this was a Breadtube video, okay. Here's how I would talk about the homelessness problem in like crime in LA if I was like actually caring about fixing the solutions. Like, this is how you would do it. LA has a serious homelessness problem and crime issue. Here are the statistics. They are backed up by facts. You know, these are statistics collected and syndicated by reputable academic organizations. Here are the problems that cause these issues: gentrification, rising housing prices, lack of social safety nets. Here's how we fix the problem. Then go through a bunch of different methods we could go about trying to fix these issues, talk about how Democrats that run the state aren't doing enough to fix the problem, and a lot of the things they've done are just virtue signaling to try and come off as though they actually care about the problem or actually want to do anything about it. Go over solutions that we can implement to try to fix the issue, instead of just saying, oh yeah, California is progressive, so that's bad. Look at this homelessness problem because it's progressive, so that's bad. See, this is what happens when cities are run by Democrats or any progressive whatsoever.
And complain about the loss of tradition. But what could be more traditional than the return of diseases not seen since medieval times? Thanks to LA's ever-increasing piles of uncollected trash, typhus has made a spectacular comeback. Rats gorge on the trash, multiply, and then spread the fleas that transmit the typhus. Typhus is a third-world disease caused by a breakdown in society where trash pick.
Doesn't New York have similar issues? I've been to New York, okay? I've been to New York twice in my life, and every time I've went there, I've seen rats the size of, like, small dogs, okay? Chew, you can back this up. You live in like New York, in the New York area. You go in the subway, you see some big fucking rats. You go into the subway and you smell piss instantly. Like when you go into the subway in Manhattan or Queens specifically, you go into the subway, you go into that fucking tunnel, and you just get hit with wafting piss. It's like a piss cloud just invading your nostrils. You see these big rats on the tracks walking around, and then the tracks start to rattle as a fucking subway comes, and all the rats scurry away and they hide somewhere. I don't even notice the smell anymore. You get used to the smell, that's true. But when you go there to visit, or for like you first get there, you smell the piss in the subway. It is there, okay? Especially in Queens. Queens is big rat piss central. I'd say Manhattan is second to that. Brooklyn's actually really nice. Every time I went to Brooklyn, it was very, very nice. But I don't know. Any large, densely populated city is going to have this problem, PJW.
Pickup becomes a luxury. It's only normally seen in socialist hellscapes like Caracas, Venezuela. And it's not just the homeless who are getting...
This guy calls himself a journalist, right? This guy calls himself a journalist. He does. You realize this has been a problem. The reason why this has been a problem since medieval ages is because of population density, right? You literally only need to know the basic history of like human like evolution to understand where like diseases and plagues and things like this come from. When you have a lot of people densely packed into a small area, like a city, you have issues where there is too much waste, there is too much trash, and nowhere to put it, or there isn't a way to reliably get rid of it. New York, for all of its faults, does seem to have a pretty good job of waste disposal, considering the massive population, but high population density, by necessity, results in disease. He's standing in front of a map of the Nordic countries, are right fucking there. Yeah, well, that's South America and Africa, but yeah, I mean, they're like right above them, you know? The crazy thing is, yeah, it's true. Nordic countries that have better social safety nets and more competent systems for dealing with like trash and whatnot and homelessness, you know, making homelessness be less of a thing, are way better with this shit. Not only that, but like any understanding of epidemiology or history will tell you this. Where did the Black Plague come from? Where did cholera come from? You had densely packed areas, large cities, in which human waste and garbage was capable of transmitting from animals to people. And then through that human waste, it spread further. That's how the cholera epidemic happened. That's how the Black Plague happened. This is a basic understanding of these issues. High population density equals more disease and dirtier streets.
getting typhus. Deputy City Attorney Liz Greenwood caught it because City Hall is infested with rats.
Who gets typhus? It's a medieval disease that's caused by trash.
Piles of trash like those on Ceres Avenue.
I thought I was going to die.
And there you were thinking Baltimore was notorious for its rats. LA is known as the City of Rats. According to pest control companies, requests for rat exterminations are up 60% in the last 12 months alone. There are now an estimated 12 million plus rats in Los Angeles. Pest control professionals warn of a, quote, alarming increase in rats that is, quote, highly abnormal. But they can't properly clean up the mess because...
So, rats are a problem you can never completely deal with. Rats have adapted and evolved at this point to perfectly live in human environments, right? They live off of the trash of humans. The best way you can deal with rats is to, one, if you don't want rats in your home, you seal off your home so they can't get in, and you make it so you have nothing in your home to attract them. Make sure your house is clean. That's a good way to deal with rats. Anybody who's dealt with rats before knows how to deal with this problem. Some people think rats are cute, but I've seen New York City rats. Those fuckers aren't cute, okay? If you live in New York, you don't want rats living in your apartment. There's actually stories about rats chewing the noses, lips, fingertips, and toe tips off of babies in their crib in New York City and whatnot. You have to just keep your place clean. That's how you deal with rats. You'll never fully get rid of them being in the city, but you can get them out of your home and whatnot, which is what you want. You don't want rats in your home unless they're like domesticated rats you own as a pet and they're clean. I actually had my uncle, when I lived with him, had a rat problem because he had a bunch of citrus trees around. It's Florida, lots of citrus trees that attracts rats. He had rats living up in the attic and they chewed into the house. So to get rid of the rat problem, because traps weren't working well enough, I would basically get my .22 air rifle. Listen, I'm from the South, okay? This is what you did. This is what you do when you're a fucking white boy from the South. I would set up my .22 air rifle and I would make myself like a nest out of blankets and stuff like that. Was the uncle creepy? No, he's really cool. I would set up like a nest of blankets and stuff like that, and I would turn on a bunch of red and green lights to light up the room because rats can't see in red and green light. They can't see it. And I would just set up my air rifle with the scope, and I would just look at the hole where the rats come out of, and I would just fucking pop them every time they come out. And every night I would come out with a bag of like 5 or 6 rats. And eventually, after like a few weeks of doing that every single night, I eventually got rid of the rat problem. Yeah, I am Lonnie's pet, Florida man. This is what people in Florida do for fun. It is true. It really is.
Because hysterical environmentalists are lobbying to get bills passed that ban effective rodenticides that kill them.
I'm standing outside of City Hall. I want you to take a look at this. It says number 98 upside down. That's a rat trap, and they're all over City Hall.
Our citizens are going to start contracting diseases that are dangerous.
And guess what other progressive...
Well, using pesticides in the city is dangerous. Like, getting rid of rats is like a thing you want to do, right? Like, if there's a serious rat problem, you want to get rid of them, but you also can't have pesticides poisoning people. Was it fun shooting them, at least? I mean, I don't enjoy killing rats. It's not a particularly fun job, but I don't like living with rats, so I had to deal with it. I was living with my uncle for a year. There was a rat problem. It had to be dealt with, and traps weren't cutting it, so that's what we did. The way you fix this rat problem is going to be improving the public sanitation system. Having better services for dealing with garbage and trash, better street cleaning initiatives. Hell, you know what the best way to do? Here's how you do it. Pay the homeless people to clean the streets. Pay them a decent living wage to clean up the streets. Garen, fucking 2 birds, 1 stone. Fucking perfect solution. Pay the homeless people a living wage so they can get a home, and their job is to clean up the streets. Hell, give them commission for how much garbage they can bring in to landfills and recycling stations. You fucking fix the problem. Pay the homeless people, give them a job to clean up the streets. Cleaning the streets is how you get rid of the rats. No poisoning the people. You don't have homeless people committing crime anymore. You can do that. Fucking perfect solution. Will it fix all the problems? No. Will all homeless people go for it? No. Pay the homeless people a living wage to clean up the streets. Or we can just, like, you know, arrest all the homeless people and poison everybody, and so you still have trash-filled streets. Everybody has like cancer and all sorts of different diseases from the poison. The trash is still there, so people still get typhus, and you know we can just all do that. You know that can also be the Republican solution right there.
Little goody is making a comeback in LA. Bubonic plague.
1.5% of the rats in Los Angeles are now believed to be carrying the plague. Their figure hits 2.
That's how you know. That's how you know PJW is a very reputable journalist when he cites Tucker Carlson and Fox News.
it will start jumping to humans.
We cleaned up the plague even before antibiotics because of public health. Here we are back in Middle Ages type situation.
If Los Angeles doesn't sort out its trash problem and its homeless problem, the return of bubonic plague is virtually guaranteed.
We have complete breakdown of the basic needs of civilization in Los Angeles right now. This is unbelievable. I can't believe I live in a city where this is not third world, Laura. This is medieval. Third world countries are insulted if they are accused of being like this. No city on earth tolerates this. The entire population is at risk.
The more homeless.
Provide a solution. Why do right-wingers do this? Like, all they do is bitch about problems and then leave it open-ended so other figures, like anywhere from like center right-leaning people to full-on Nazis can say, the problem is because the Jews, or because of like immigration or multiculturalism or whatever, or brown people, whatever the fuck, right? Like, they never offer solutions. They just talk about problems. That's what I did with my content by accident. Yeah, I remember that. That was like a huge issue that a lot of people had, but that's the thing though. At the time, you didn't really know what the solution was. You didn't realize the solution was capitalism. The solution is establishment politics that aren't really willing to actually do any solutions and whatnot. But now you know the solutions, and now you present them. That's why you've improved. That's what improving is all about. But this is what like right-wing content creators do. There's no solution to woke scolds. That's true. There is no solution to that. You just have to outnumber them until they become such a small, loud minority that they stop being loud because they get so much social pressure not to act the way that they do.
The more crime, the more trash. The more trash, the more rats. The more rats, the more disease. If Democrats really care about the plight of the homeless, why are they enacting policies that create and worsen poverty?
Name a policy that fixes things. Name a policy that'll help it.
And homelessness.
Homeless in Los Angeles, where you have to earn nearly $50 an hour just to afford the median monthly rent.
The state's gas tax hiked fees by 40%. To a wealthy liberal living in Malibu, that's nothing. So someone living paycheck to paycheck, that's everything. And despite
PJW doesn't care about poor people. Don't pretend like you care about poor people, PJW. I've watched your videos. I know your opinions. I know your content. You don't care about poor people. You're virtue signaling right now. Provide solutions. Offer policy solutions like I did. Pay the homeless people a living wage to clean up the trash so that we don't have to use pesticides on the rats, so that people don't get poisoned from the pesticides, and you don't have a homelessness problem anymore. That is one of many possible solutions that you can do. Provide solutions. Don't just talk about the problems. Talking about the problems is good. You have to acknowledge the problems first, but you have to provide solutions.
raising billions from this tax, 75% of LA's homeless population don't have access to shelters. Compare that figure to just 5% who don't in New York. And just like San Francisco, lax drug laws encourage addicts to get trapped in a cycle of dependency.
Because we made...
This is untrue. The way that we deal with drug dependency isn't through the drug war and drug laws. That's not how you deal with it. Arresting people for smoking meth and weed, well, not weed in California, I guess, but like arresting drug users isn't how you fix the problem. The drug war is unanimously considered by most criminologists to be the worst way to fix the drug problem. That's not even counting the fact that the US government kind of gave poor and black communities crack back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They kind of gave it to them and got them hooked on it to sort of fuel the drug war. That was a thing that happened. I don't know if just in case you forgot. The way that this is how you deal with a drug problem. For one, you legalize the drug use. Don't decriminalize it necessarily, but legalize it. Decriminalization might be the best way. I don't know exactly. I have to look more into it. But from what I've seen, you legalize or decriminalize drug use. You implement safe injection areas where people can use said drugs in a safe place. You not legalize, decriminalize? Decriminalize, okay. You create safe injection or use zones, I guess, where they can use it safely. Free healthcare means everybody can get access to therapy and rehabilitation. That's how you deal with the problem. You don't fucking arrest drug users. Do you think arresting drug users does anything to fix the problem? Fuck no. If anything, it gets them on harder drugs, it gets them into criminal gangs in prison, and then the problem gets worse.
Drugs legal, essentially.
Also, there's no reason for most hallucinogenic drugs to be illegal. LSD, DMT, mushrooms, all those things, no reason for them to be illegal at all. They aren't, from my knowledge, addictive substances. They cause no harm whatsoever. I don't know. Arrest drug dealers? Maybe. Okay, Joe Rogan.
in California, all my people are here. The drug users are here now because they don't get hassled.
Paramedics are treating this homeless man for a drug overdose. He can barely stand up straight. Officials don't know what he took, but it's likely a drug called spice, and it's not long before he's loaded into an ambulance.
Hey, you know why there's an issue with people not being able to know what's in their drugs? You know why most people OD? People OD because people cut like drugs that they think they're taking with drugs they don't know they're taking. And you don't know what you're putting in your body. That used to be a big issue with weed. You know that, right? When it came to weed, drug dealers, like you'd have to buy weed from shady drug dealers that would like fucking put shit in their either like things to sort of cut it or like spread out its use. That could be like dangerous. This happens with cocaine too. What's the word for it? You want to implement a way for drug addicts to get hands on drugs that aren't dangerous or don't have a chance of being cut with dangerous substances that they don't know what it is, right? And then you want to get them off of it. You want to wean them off of it. Or at the very least, create an environment in which people can use drugs recreationally in a safe manner, like the open injection sites I talked about earlier.
Having a massive housing shortage. The area has absorbed at least 1 million illegal immigrants, 10% of the nation's total.
There it is. Immigration is the problem. Brown people are the problem. It always goes back to that. That is always the issue. That they never offer solutions unless it's build the wall or whatever. It's always the brown people coming in.
They all seem to be finding homes a lot easier than LA's vast homeless population. Los Angeles is also a perfect illustration of late-stage capitalism's visceral disregard for quality of life.
True? Don't say based. True, though. A broken clock is right twice a day. But, okay, yeah, capitalism's the problem. You're spot on that one. But the reason why immigrants are the ones taking up the houses is because immigrants work more than... They work and produce money. If you come to this country for a better life, yeah, you're gonna fucking work your ass off. This has been demonstrated by even right-wing economists. Immigrants, even illegal immigrants, especially from South America, contribute to a net benefit to our economy because they work. Yeah. They're working. They're contributing to the economy, Paul Joseph Watson.
Life. For a modern city, LA's public transport system is shockingly poor. Which means most people travel everywhere by...
Oh yeah, I should clarify. I don't think... yeah, this might be a Nazbol take. I don't think he actually thinks capitalism is the problem. I think he thinks the elites are the problem. The elites.
By car, and the traffic is notoriously horrendous. Los Angeles is the global leader in urban congestion, worse than Delhi, Beijing, or anywhere on the planet. A Texas A&M study found that sitting in traffic eats up $1,300 a year for the average Angelino in fuel prices and time wasted alone. Angelinos spend an average 104 hours stuck in traffic jams every single year. The smog in LA is so bad, sunsets look like nuclear bomb blasts. They also have something called purple alert days, which means if you go outside and breathe, you basically just get cancer and die. LA is also a death trap for pedestrians and cyclists. Pedestrian fatalities from being...
Just listing problems. These are problems with capitalism and neoliberalism. I promise you. Hey, listen, if America followed the Nordic model, LA would be in a much better position, okay? Social safety nets, welfare, the welfare state, things like this, that shit fixes these problems. Not to mention, I got some ideas of my own on how to fix these problems, like the fucking paying the homeless people to clean up the trash. Give them a job that isn't it's not high skill labor, because that's the problem. A lot of homeless people aren't educated, right? You can't just like give them high skill labor jobs. They aren't going to be capable of doing it unless they have comprehensive on the site training, but they are capable of doing what's the word for it? Someone has to do it. They need jobs. They need a living wage. Fucking pay them for low skill labor that needs to be done, like cleaning up the trash off the streets. They'll do it. If it means that they get a place to live and they can pay the bills, keep the lights on, and buy food, they'll fucking do it. They'll be grateful to do it. Is it the perfect job? No. Does it need to get done? Yes. Are they the perfect group of people to do it because it's uneducated labor and the problem needs to be solved and they need a place to live? Then yes. That is the solution to this problem.
hit by a car are triple the national average, while cyclist fatalities are double the national average. So it's no surprise that according to the American Psychological Association, Los Angeles is America's most stressful city.
I'm really sorry. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry too.
All those yoga studios, new age gurus, juice bars, and hippie retreats aren't doing shit. Avocado on gluten.
I mean, I don't know. He's doing the gluten-free avocado meme. The reason why LA is a stressful city is, for one, having wealth and being extremely wealthy has been shown that it doesn't contribute much to your mental health. Billionaires and millionaires are pretty fucking depressed. It's true, because money, while it can get rid of many of the problems that, make you miserable, can't on its own buy happiness. Second, there's the problem that when you live in a city, you're inherently going to be more depressed and stressed out. Fucking duh. You know who's probably also really stressed and depressed? People in DC. I've been to DC. The traffic is god awful. Holy shit. New York City traffic has nothing on DC traffic. Oh my god. It pales in comparison. DC traffic is god awful. I gotta go work on videos. Good stream, Xander. Good stream, guys. Thank you, Shu. Have fun with those videos. I'll be sure to watch them when they come out, and I appreciate you hanging out in chat. It's always nice to have you here.
Free toast isn't going to hide the fact that you live in a superficial, congested, trash-strewn, dystopian, rat-infested hellscape. You're all relentlessly miserable. No wonder LA is the most stoned city in America. Turns out 6 lanes of traffic all heading away from or towards.
LA is the most stoned city in America because weed is legal, dude. Wait, what's wrong with being stoned? What? Why is that an argument for LA being bad? Because weed's legal there, you fucking idiot. You can go, there's literally a fucking, here in Palm Springs, I imagine the same's true of LA, but at least here in Palm Springs, there's a fucking weed dispensary on every corner.
A McDonald's or a shopping mall doesn't provide you with a transcendent purpose in life. Imagine my shock. Given all this, is it any wonder that people are fleeing Los Angeles in droves?
The recent breakdown of last year's census numbers show a trend that's hard to ignore. More people are leaving Orange and LA counties than are moving in.
Soaring rents and home prices have eviscerated the middle class. So what are you left with? A grossly affluent, isolated, sneering elite and a resentful,
He is part of the elite, by the way. If we're talking about the economic elite, like having a lot of money and being wealthy, PJW is part of the elite. The dude makes a lot of money. Hold on, can we find out what his net worth is really quick? I'm curious. He's talking about the Jews when he says elite, by the way. PJW net worth. Let's see what this man's net worth is. Just from YouTube alone, not counting his pay from InfoWars, he's making a shit ton of money. He's made 817 so far this month just from ad revenue. In September, he made 5.47K, 3.99, 1.37, 2.18. This is a good fucking revenue. And this is even counting sponsorships or working for for InfoWars, working for fucking Alex Jones. This dude's pulling in well into the 6 figures. I would guess this guy's making close to $500,000 a year. This dude's part of the elite, okay? This dude is rich. This dude's certifiably rich, okay? When he talks about the elites, he's not talking about rich people. He's talking about the Jews.
Entitled criminally prone underclass, with very little in between. How long can this tenuous veneer of civilization hold firm before something snaps? It's fine. The 1992 LA riots led to 63 deaths, thousands of injuries, 12,000 arrests, and property damage of over $1 billion. A poll found that for the first time since the 92 riots, there is an increase in the number of people living in Los Angeles who fear that more civil unrest is likely within 5 years. I asked some of my...
Hey, sounds like capitalism is a system that just can't last, and we need to move to socialism. Let's get socialism up in here. Capitalism just doesn't last. This is what happens. Capitalism is a system that is very good for quickly growing your productive forces, rapidly industrializing, but it can't last. Capitalism, and this is the Marxist perspective, not a liberal take. Marx believed this. Capitalism was supposed to be, or is ideally, a transitional period between mercantilism or what's the system with the serfs and shit like that? I'm blanking on it right now. Mercantilism, the serfs, feudalism and mercantilism. You go from that, you go to capitalism, rapidly industrialize, build up your productive forces, then you move on to socialism. That's the Marxist perspective. It's true. And does anyone disagree with that? This is basic Marxian economics. It's called rapid. It's called building your productive forces. Anyone who's read Marx knows about this.
Followers on Twitter who aren't biased at all, what life is like in Los Angeles and if it had changed. I've been here for about 7 years. Trash increasing, tents and homelessness increasing. Places I used to walk are now virtually unwalkable. Too many illegals, no one speaks English around here anymore. Things are getting...
What? Why is he just showing... Is this journalism to PJW? I know he does this. He just shows like tweets from random people. Too many illegals. Nice.
Downtown LA looks like the Walking Dead at night. My post office just posted a note that it will no longer be open 24 hours a day because of homeless and drug users going to the bathroom and graffiti in the mailbox area. Downtown LA is the worst. Last month, a politician talked about leveling a certain area and institutionalizing the homeless, giving them shelter, healthcare, and amenities of daily life, along with therapy for addicts. He was actually trounced. I lived in LA for 20 years until I...
Yeah, that's bad. Also, building homeless shelters isn't the sole solution. You don't want homeless people to just be living in shelters. That's a temporary solution. That's not how we fix the problem. We need to give them work and a living wage so they aren't homeless anymore. You don't fix the homeless problem by just shoving them into fucking shelters. That's not how we fix it. That is, if anything, a temporary solution so they aren't on the streets while they're, while they have a job so they can get a place to live. So we give them a living wage.
I left a year ago. Rents are skyrocketing, number of homeless is increasing dramatically, as they are in Orange County. I've never seen so many rats and needles in the streets. The trash is mountainous. Not kidding. It's slowly but surely becoming the city from the movie Idiocracy. It's horrible. Homeless tents everywhere in the valley and all the surrounding...
This is journalism right here. This is what we call right-wing journalism. Showing a tweet from a guy with a fucking Family Guy profile picture.
It's slowly but surely becoming the city from the movie Idiocracy. It's horrible. Homeless tents everywhere in the valley and all the surrounding areas as well. Trash, drugs, smell of urine all over. Getting worse. In summary then, not great. It's fine. Let's face it. Rich liberals see the creeping destitution, wealth inequality, tent cities, and they don't care. So long as they can be privately chauffeured around, so long as they can retreat to the safety of their Beverly Hills mansions, so long as they can avoid the immediate consequences of the squalor, and so long as the miserable underclass keeps voting Democrat and fixing their toilets, they don't care.
I promise you things will be a lot worse if they were voting Republican. Can you imagine what a shit... So this is the reason why all major cities are Democrat-run. Because people who are more educated tend to vote Democrat, and people who are more educated tend to live in the cities. This is just a simple fact. This is why cities are always Democrat-run. So that's not stopping anytime soon. Can you imagine if a big city was Republican-run? Can you imagine that? God, what a hellhole it would be. Can you imagine a big city like LA run by Republicans? Oh my God. Holy shit. You want to see I Am Legend in real life? Imagine if New York City was run by fucking Republicans. Imagine if New York City didn't implement a lockdown with Corona. You want to see what New York City would look like right now if they had a Republican in charge that didn't implement a lockdown? This would be New York City right now. This would be New York City right now if they didn't implement a lockdown. Not because no one would be on the streets because they're staying in their homes, but because everyone would be fucking dead. This would be it. Wait, does he actually hide his likes and dislikes? No, he doesn't. No, he hasn't hid them on this video, at least.
Who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Oh, that's... No.
America's future. Rat-infested, disease-ridden shitholes inhabited by a two-caste society. The elite and the sickly poor who continue to vote for their own slave masters because they know no better. Democrat voters, Democrat politicians. But
the Democratic plantation. We love that meme here.
Don't take my word for it. Listen to what this Guardian journalist said about how guilty liberals assuage their cognitive dissonance. I did what most do. Got on with life. Enjoyed the weather, the food, the ocean, the concerts. I could pretend that it was hard, that I felt forever nagged by the extreme inequality. It wasn't, and I didn't. The great terrible truth is that the wonders and distractions of Los Angeles made it easy, over the years, to look away. To no longer care quite so much.
Yeah, when you're rich, it's easy to look down on the lower class. It's easy to look down on the lower class when you're rich. The capitalist ruling class doesn't give a fuck about the fucking working class. Yeah, this is basic fucking leftist ideology. Just because you're a Nazgul doesn't mean you know the answer to the problems. You may think the problem is like capitalism, but you only want like socialism for white people, or like some kind of social programs for white people. You want to keep the brown people out. This is basic right populism.
Ignorance is bliss. But does any of this matter, given that Los Angeles is probably going to be wiped out by natural disasters anyway? Thanks to the San Andreas Fault, one big earthquake could devastate the city. But it gets worse. If there's a massive quake off the coast of Alaska, it could create a tsunami large enough to wipe out Long Beach and parts of Orange County.
You know what's way more likely than this? The wildfires being fucking exacerbated by climate change. Like fucking over all of LA. Knocking out the power and possibly even burning the city down. There is like a 1.5% chance that there's going to be that the San Andreas Fault is going to cause the fucking big one. The big one is what they call it. There's a 1.5% chance of that. There's a much higher chance that fucking the massive forest fires that California is dealing with right now are going to fucking burn down the city, or a significant amount of it.
County. 750,000 people would be forced to flee. Toxic debris would ruin all the beaches, and sewage would flood the cities. And when that day comes, we can truly say for sure that Los Angeles is literally a shithole.
Nice. So this is something that I noticed a lot after I got like unred pilled when I was younger, and Shuan had said it earlier. A lot of like the skeptic community type area and like the right wingers would constantly talk about problems, but and like who's causing it. Although usually who they would blame would be the wrong people. That they would never provide solutions. Never. They never provide solutions. They want to leave it up to more radicalized figures to provide the solutions, which is like, you know, exterminating brown people, white ethno-state, the Jews, you know? That's what they do. There's not a single solution provided in this video. If you just sat me down for like 10 minutes, I could just list out a fucking list of solutions that would probably fix this entire problem. Literally, it would be fucking easy. Really fucking easy to fix this problem. There are tons of solutions that we could go by. But the problem is, for the politicians that run these cities and that run this country, it is not in their best financial interest to fix those problems. It's just not. This is a simple symptom of capitalism. And it'll always be like this. Capitalism is not a system that is meant to last forever. It was always meant to be a transitionary period to build up our productive forces and move on to socialism or communism.